Florida, you know, we had a lot of plantations here in Florida. Matter of fact, we got a city named Plantation. But did you know that cotton plantations was the #1 moneymaker in Florida, especially in the 19th century? But look, don't worry, I did some digging. Let's get into it. Now, before we get going into this, all right, I want to show y'all something. This is the Cotton Belt. So this is where majority of all the cotton was grown in the United States in the 16, 17, and 1800s. Now, we all know at one point in time that cotton was the #1 crop in America, but it could only be grown in the South because we had the soil and we had the perfect weather conditions. Now, throughout the 16th and 17th century, all right, America was growing. So the demand of cotton was actually growing as well. And if the demand for cotton is growing, you need more slaves. Now, during the 1700s, right, plantations in Florida started to grow because of the demand of cotton and also slaves, all right? The amount of slaves that was coming into Florida, that number also grew as well. Now, I got to introduce you to somebody, all right? Now, this don't have nothing to do with Florida, but I just got to mention it so you can, I can get through the story. But this Eli Whitney, he invented the cotton gin. Now, I know we all know the backstory that how maybe possibly he stole the idea from a slave. But when he, invented the cotton whip, late 1700s, it changed the game for the cotton industry and slavery. Now, look, I know some of y'all probably like, look, he did steal the, idea from the slave. But look, they can't prove that story, but the tale has been passed down from generation to generation to generation from the actual slave that came up with the idea. So do as you will with that information. We're moving on. The whole idea of the cotton gin was to be able to lower the demand of slaves and separate the seeds and the cotton a little bit faster. But this thing right here did a lot more than that. It kind of changed the whole infrastructure of America. Now, all the slave masters, they like cool, all right? Now we could pump out more cotton, but they're doing other things as well. Citrus, celery, probably, I don't know. But they think that, with this cotton gin, we'll be able to make more money. But that is until, 1861, and the Civil War happened. Now, some of y'all may know that the state of Florida actually didn't have a lot of Civil War battles in the state because at the time, the way that, Florida was set up, it's a little tricky. But they were a part of the Union, and the Union was trying to stop this whole slave thing, right? And Florida was like, hold up, okay? That's how we making our money. So what they did is they left the Union and went over to the Confederacy. Now, the main reason why Florida wanted to keep this whole cotton slavery thing going is because it was literally building the state, all right? They was bringing in trains. People was making money off of the ports. And yes, they were doing other things, citrus, celery, whatever. But nothing had the demand of cotton. But in 1865, the war was over with, and so was slavery. And that was a big problem, but not only for Florida, for the whole United States. Now, the problem with that is, all right, after 1845, and you had slaves on your plantation, you are no longer supposed to enslave them. Supposed to. You got to pay them now. But the thing is, a lot of these slave owners, they was like, nah, I ain't doing that. Or they just, couldn't pay it. But shortly after that, a lot of these slave owners, they kept a couple of the slaves. They tried to work the cotton gins and things like that, keep the wheels moving. But it just wasn't working. So slowly but surely, the cotton industry died out in America. Now, this creates a huge problem for America, huge economic loss. Because like I said, cotton was the #1 cash crop that they had in the country. So America going broke. They ain't got no slaves or no cotton. They basically just relying on some citrus. It goes to show you that, the slave industry in America, not just Florida, was huge. And it also built majority of this country. Now, look, real quick before I get out of here, all right? This Eli, okay? Eli Whitney. Just looking at the idea that he stole. I know a lot of y'all probably like, was he with or was he against slavery? It really don't say, I got to be honest. But like I said, when he made this, he wanted to reduce the amount of slaves that we had. Like the slave owners would, get rid of some of the slaves because they got a cotton gin. I don't see why he thought that. But he also wanted to just come up with a quicker way to get the job done, all right? I don't think he, planned out all of this is going to happen after the invention. Now, look, I don't know what y'all going to do to remember this. Like it, comment, share it. I don't know. But the more you know. And look, if y'all see this, share it. Because y'all know how they do in Florida with Black history. Peace.